Gentlemen, please. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. 15 rounds boxing of 3 minutes each round for the heavyweight championship of Great Britain, the Commonwealth and Europe. Between and introducing to you defending his titles, the heavyweight champion of Great Britain, the Commonwealth and Europe from Belgium, Henry Cooper. And in this corner, the challenger from St. Ives, Joe Bugner. At the weigh-in at 1 o'clock today, Cooper scaled 13 stone 7 pounds. Bugner scaled 15 stone 2¼ pounds. Your officials for this contest is your referee Harry Gibbs and your trained timekeeper John Gibbs. Thank you.
Henry Cooper, as one would expect, looking relaxed and composed. He's been through this so many times before, and you look to Bugner to see whether the tension and the atmosphere is getting at him, and it's fair to say that he shows no sign of it whatever. He looks cool and calm and totally relaxed. So Cooper once more puts the titles on the line, and tonight has a big, strong, young and potentially very dangerous opponent in Joe Bugner. Bugner with the height, the weight and a little bit of reach. And Bugner will be working with the left jab to try to do damage on Henry's susceptible eyes. And these first few moments will be absolutely vital, because everything really depends on whether Bugner has come into this ring confident or not. Two good left jabs by the young man. And he doesn't look in the least overawed. It's a good body punch from Cooper. Bugner felt it. There must be no hesitancy on Joe Bugner's part tonight if he wants to win this title. He's got to work and be flexible and keep at it. And Bugner turns his head away from the potential danger of the left hook inside. And he really does look a very big boy. 3 inches taller. Bugner covers up and keeps out of trouble. Henry taking his time. And Bugner looking very wary indeed in the clinches. Snaking out the left jab, Bugner, quite effectively. And the news at the ringside is that the odds against Bugner have dropped to 6-4. At one time, Bugner was rated a 3-1 chance, and now the odds are down to 6-4. The experience inside being shown by Cooper. And that's a very interesting opening round, with no sensational action on either side. But with Bugner having come through it looking completely relaxed and confident and not in the least overawed. and that might be significant. Joe Bugner, 21, only last Saturday. Naturalized British subject, born in Hungary, left the country at 6 years old during the 1956 uprising. 34 professional fights with 1 draw, 2 defeats and 31 wins. He hasn't lost a fight since August 1969 when the American Dick Hall beat him on points. Henry Cooper, 36, making tonight his 10th defence of the British title. Professional for very nearly 17 years and holder already of 3 Lonsdale belts.
Second out, round 2.
The feeling in the Cooper camp, certainly by Jim Wicks, the manager of Henry Cooper, was that Cooper would get this over fairly quickly. Wicks was full of confidence at the weekend. And there's a lot of strength in front of him, and it might well be that he'll need to get this over quickly, because if it should go the distance, then the younger man could have the advantages in stamina, perhaps overwhelming advantages. Good stinging left jab by Bugner right onto the nose of Cooper. And a good reply by Henry. Bugner's left hand working well. When are we going to see the first real left hook from Cooper? It hasn't come yet. (15 stone, 2¼ pounds coming through behind that left jab. There's the left hook. He tried it to the body and he got it through. And Bugner hangs on. The first big left hook of the fight. Bugner's come here to fight tonight. He wants the title, and he's going to try to take it away from the old champion on a night that is really packed and sizzling with emotion in this Wembley pool. Bugner very strong in the clinch, forcing Cooper back. A quick left hand from Bugner for a man of that size. Cooper roughing him up inside. And this has all the makings of being one tremendous fight. Henry breathing a little hard. There's the left hook again, and he tries, but it wasn't quite there and it wasn't quite timed, and he tried to get it into the body. Well, what can you say about this extraordinary man, the most popular champion perhaps that Britain's ever had? Henry Cooper, OBE, who won the British title in January 1959 against Brian London, and apart from one short break when he gave it up, has held it for more than 12 years. He won it from Brian London in his 26th professional fight, and tonight he takes on fight number 55. The last man to beat Cooper was Floyd Patterson, who knocked him out in this ring in September 1966 in the 4th round. Since then, Henry's had 7 fights and has won all 7.
Second out, round 3.
And he's still waiting on the 3rd. for the first major sensation of this fight to explode. And 10,000 people wait as well. And the place is like a cauldron of excitement. And there is tremendous support in this arena tonight for Bugner. He got a great cheer when he came in, certainly almost the equal of the cheer that Cooper got. Bugner has hardly chanced his right hand yet. Most of his work's been done from the left. And inside you can see the experience of Henry Cooper telling. He does all the useful work inside and tends to rough Bugner up inside. But the big young man is unmarked.
Right, get back.
Cooper's left eye looking a little red. That's the one that tends to go first if anything does go. Bugner breathing a little hard. The tension in that ring is really crackling. And I think Henry's left eye is gone. I think the left eye is gone. There's a good deal of redness around that left eye of Cooper's. And the head of Bugner was in Henry's face then. He's also holding. And there's a distinct mark underneath the eyebrow of Cooper's left eye. There's no blood. And as I say, there's no blood, so it begins to bleed. And so Cooper is cut underneath the left eyebrow in the third round. So as in so many previous fights, Cooper once more must live with an eye injury in this fight. Eddie Thomas comes in to tend to the left eye. And if I've seen that happen once, I've seen it happen, oh, I don't know, 24 times in Henry's fights. Thomas did an absolutely marvellous job on Henry's eyes in the last fight Cooper had, the one in which he beat Jose Urtain for the European title. And Thomas did a really remarkable job, and to a large extent contributed to the success of Cooper in that fight, because if he hadn't done such a good job, then Cooper could well have been stopped with cuts. And now he's got the same job on hand again. And Bugner unmarked.
Second down, round 4.
And Bugner looks at his man and sees that he has brought damage to Cooper's face. And the head cracks into Cooper's face again, and he gets cautioned by Harry Gibbs. And there's a lot of grease on Cooper's face. Speed of Bugner's left jab has been quite startling, and perhaps startling to Cooper. This young man has produced better form already in this fight than he's been showing in recent ones.
Right on your toe.
And the occasion is bringing the best out of Bugner. The thing here is whether Bugner will leave himself an unguarded moment, and the chance will arise for Cooper to slam the left hook home. He's brought it home a couple of times already to the body, but he hasn't had a good shot yet at Bugner's chin. Bugner is really tossing Cooper around when it comes to a trial of strength inside. 23¼ pounds advantage. Punch from Bugner as they came out of that. There's no sign of further bleeding on Cooper's left eye, so Thomas has done the trick again. Nearly 4 rounds completed, and so far no real dominance by Henry Cooper over Bugner. Bugner's taken some quite good body shots and has stood up to them. And that one hurt Bugner, and you saw him lose his temper. And Henry gave a little nod to Bugner at the end there, in appreciation, I think, that this strong young man is really giving him something to think about. And the thing that is best in Bugner tonight is this snaking left hand, which is...
Round 5!
Seen a really big right hand from Bugner. In fact, I can hardly remember him using it throughout the fight so far. He's been working, concentrating on the left hand. Become a test of strength between these two. They're both feeling each other's punches. The left jab into Henry's face, and these left hooks occasionally into the body of Bugner. Bugner took 2 there, which almost took his head off. And Cooper's beginning to just step up the pace a bit, and when he does, Bugner takes them. And Bugner drops into the clinch and takes a couple more, and this is very much Cooper's round so far. Cooper's going to have to draw on all those years of experience here. From Bugner, and that made Henry Cooper hang on. A left hand underneath. He brought that into Cooper's body as Cooper moved in on him. And this is turning out to be a really cracking championship battle. And Bugner looks not quite so confident at the end of this 5th round, and it's clearly Cooper's. And that is the most decisive round we've seen yet, and Cooper won it. And no further trouble at all from the eye. Eddie Thomas is a miracle worker. He really is. He stopped that bleeding completely. And Cooper really stepped up the pace there, and when he did, he had Bugner in some trouble. He had one bad moment, Cooper, when he moved in and took a punch to the body, which pulled him up sharply. But for the most part, Henry was on top in that one, and Bugner began to look as though he might just begin to come apart a little at the seams. Some of the smoothness went out of him.
Second out, round 6.
So 1/3 of the scheduled distance already achieved in this fight, and a tremendous situation brewing. Cooper wearing a look of confidence. And I get the impression now that Cooper is going to really go all out in these next 2 or 3 rounds here to finish this. Because I suspect he may feel he's taken the best of Bugner's shots and has taken them successfully. There's the left hook. A rather wily one over the top of the guard. Bugner may need all his strength in these next few rounds. Because Cooper is beginning to get through. Here's the cry for Cooper coming up. Round 6. Badly needs to get that left hand working again. That's the punch with which he's got to try to stop Cooper. 2 good ones from Bugner, and again he makes Cooper hold on. He brought 2 fast ones in there. He let them go freely, and he hurt Henry. When this young man relaxes and lets the punches go, then he looks good. When he tenses up, he doesn't get his work home. Almost 16 years difference between them, and this is going to weigh heavily in this fight if it goes any distance. And the sheer weight of Bugner forces Cooper back. Been a very much better round for Joe Bugner. Looked as though Cooper was going to get right on top of him for a time, but Bugner pulled something out to stop the thing going too much against him. So 6 rounds completed, and the 21-year-old challenger still looking massive and strong and determined. Cooper looking a little marked around that eye, but it's not bleeding. And I would think Cooper must be beginning to feel that this could be a very hard one. There hasn't been much evidence of the left hook. He's brought it over a few times to the body, but has hardly been able to use it at all to the head.
Stay down, round 7.
And there's a great white smear of grease on Cooper's left eye. Cooper begins to get his own left jab working. That was a good left hand to the body from Bugner. left jab into the face of Cooper. This is where Henry's 36 years may be betraying him a little. Slowness. The reaction's not quite so fast as they were a few years ago. And those quick left hands get to him. Bugner still fighting a cautious, tactical battle, not taking chances, because he knows there is one tremendous left hook waiting for him if he should make one bad slip. Cooper just above the belt, and Cooper felt them, and punches like that will draw a lot of strength out of a man 36 years old. And this is a good round for Bugner. He's put most of the scoring punches in. Bugner blocks that one. Tied Cooper up in this one. And Henry's now got a cut underneath his right eye. So now he's got two, one over the left, one under the right. The one under the right won't bother him too much. Good round for Bugner, this one, and he's won it. A pretty hard round for Henry Cooper, and now he's got a slight cut underneath the right eye as well as the one above the left. And there is no doubt now whatever that Henry is in for a hard night. Well, whatever the outcome of this fight, then one thing we can be sure about Joe Bugner is that he has really already come out of this with a great deal of credit. He came into the ring confident, he made a confident start, and he is giving Cooper as much trouble as Cooper could want.
Second out, round 8.
We might see signs of something really big here from Cooper, because I'm sure he feels he's going to need it. Keep this at long range and use that left hand, and that would be one way to win it. He's got a slight reach advantage, a lot of height, and a good deal of strength. Interesting thing is that there have only been rare moments when he's actually been outboxed by Cooper. The vital thing now becomes how strong Cooper can be as the fight goes on. Fight has settled down into the sort of pace where you feel that both men know that they may have a long night ahead of them. Left for left. Cooper's rear big rights came over there, and he only just missed the chin with it. There it is again, and this time he gets it in. From taking a big right hand, comes immediately back with the left hand and shows himself to be a man with a good deal of courage. You still feel that there's a lot more in Bugner than he's shown yet. And there was a little bit of it. So a well-greased Cooper comes up for the 9th and still finds this giant man, 21 years old, the Hungarian-born Joe Bugner, standing there before him, presenting a massive target, but still very much on his feet. Bugner tried to left hook himself. There's been one quite decisive round, one Cooper won early on, about the 4th. Apart from that, the rounds have been very close all the way. Never very much between these two.
Right! Come back!
Took that one on the mouth. There's the left hook. He slashes it into the body of Bugner. Bugner takes it without trouble, apparently. Round 9, and one gets the feeling that this fight is boiling its way towards a tremendous climax. Suspect left to me. I thought it was a bit low, and it doubled Cooper over. And he tries to get the left hook into the head of Cooper, and Cooper goes back on the ropes and momentarily looks to be in trouble. It didn't look like a hard left hook, but it was enough to push Cooper into the ropes. And Cooper is forced to open up. Punches to the body from Cooper, and Bugner takes one back. Moments in this round when you see that strength could overcome the old champion. This is going to be a magnificent fight to the finish. And Cooper was in very definite trouble towards the end of that round. Bugner practically unmarked. A few marks, little marks around the eyes, no cuts. And now feeling that this title is within his grasp.
Second out, round 10.
With tension and with mixed emotions here. It might be the emergence of a new champion, but it will be so desperately sad to see the old one go down. And still we don't know which way it's going to go. Bugner seems to be gaining in confidence and seems to be getting stronger, while Cooper appears at the moment to be weakening a little. The left hand gets through to the face of Cooper. Bugner still not confident enough to open right up, because he knows the left hook could still be a very menacing weapon. Cooper's jab coming back into it. And that was trouble for Joe Bugner there. So first this goes one way and then the other. Cooper's eyes have held up remarkably well. Mixed cheers, some people calling for Bugner and some for Cooper. And now Henry's got a cut underneath the left eye, so now he's got 3. Above and below the left, and below the right. Cooper's tended to open up more in this round. He may have felt things were slipping a little away from him. And he's having a good round. For legitimate punches. Henry gaunt. And there's a good left hook, a really good one on the chin of Bugner. And that's about the first time that he's really put the left hook home flush on the chin of Bugner. And Bugner's still standing. It's been a good round for Cooper, this one. That's a really good one for Henry Cooper. This amazing man, 36 years old, got hold of that round and twisted it to his own fashion. He got hold of the fight, took it into his hands, and set about Bugner with determination, and clearly won the round. Well, Bugner really felt the sting and the lash of Cooper's left hook there, and he took one on the chin, which might have put several men on the floor. But it didn't put this 21-year-old giant from St Ives in Huntingdonshire down. And Bugner is there to come out for round 11 and still presents a massive problem for Cooper.
Round 11.
And now Cooper has got grease above and below his left eye. And he looks grotesque. But the man has had to live with cuts like this for most of his professional life. Bugner's left not quite so much in evidence. He had a moment in the 9th when he looked like getting right on top of Cooper. And Cooper knew it. And so Cooper came and took the 10th right away from him. Bugner's fought this almost entirely on the left hand. He's hardly used his right. One does feel that you really need 2 hands to deal with a champion like Cooper. The stage of the fight is coming when Bugner will have to open up. double left. And again he pushes into Henry's face. And Henry weaves from side to side. And you get the feeling that Cooper can't come full out in every round. He's having a little breather in this one. What a battle this is between the old campaigner and the young man who's not had all that much experience. Very few amateur bouts, 34 professional. But how much better he's doing than many, many of Cooper's opponents in the past. Bugner not managed to assert himself again since the 9th. This is another round to Cooper, not by much, but he's put the better shots in. Andy Smith takes Bugner onto the stool, and he's going to give him a little bit of a pep talk here, because Bugner has got to open up a bit. Because if he doesn't, then Cooper will run away from him. And the last 2 rounds, Bugner's been a little slow, and he's taken a few. And he's got to come again now if he wants those titles. And Cooper, what a magnificent performer this man is.
Second out, round 12.
Cooper had to go 15 rounds to beat off the challenge of Jack Bodell, and he might have to do the same here. The thing the Bugner camp would dearly love to know is whether the sting of the left hook in Cooper has been drawn. Because if they felt it had, then I think Bugner would open up a good deal more than he is. That's the cry for Bugner. Joe, Joe. Left jab of Bugner working well. That's a good left hand underneath. A really good punch. That was a good slashing punch from Bugner in reply. Henry's left eye looking a little bad again. Right. Seesaw around this one. Tipping off Bugner there for not stepping back. Bugner looking to Harry Gibbs. Felt that Cooper was holding. Hook inside, that's the one he's good at, Cooper. Bugner holding. So we come to the end of the 12th, and we have 3 rounds remaining, and these are the rounds now in which the physical advantages of Bugner should tell if they're going.
Second out, round 13.
3 to go then, and everything now depending on these last 3 rounds. The onus is on Bugner to come and take the titles. Cooper has looked more than confident now for 3 rounds running. And he begins to punish the younger man in the 13th. Carrying Cooper through, finding the target, picking his shots now, and Bugner has slowed right down. Good punch.
Right.
Left eye Cooper. Any punches together at all, and in fact is taking everything Cooper hands him. Cooper again, and now for 3 or 4 rounds in a row the fight has slipped, not badly away from Bugner, but slowly and steadily away from him. He has to forget about the left hook of Cooper's, he has to forget about worrying about it, and he must just now come storming forward and throw everything if he wants to take these 3 titles from the old champion in front of him.
Second out, round 14.
Still get the feeling, even at this stage, that something really explosive and sensational could still happen. The jabs coming in slickly and fast from Cooper, who shed years in the last 2 or 3 rounds as he began to feel that he had the measure of his young opponent. And Bugner's corner get a warning from Harry Gibbs to keep quiet, and Bugner's in trouble. Cooper putting on tremendous pressure now. How does this man do it? Nearly 37 in a 15-round fight, and comes like this at the death. Bugner now taking almost everything that Cooper puts at him, and he's become an almost stationary target. And it looks almost as though the will to win has drained away from Bugner. He's been softened and slowed and really hurt now by Cooper, this magnificent British, European and Commonwealth champion, who went through some bad patches early on and overcame them. The young man striving, but not knowing quite how to do it. Cooper picking the punches off on his gloves now. And so we have one round to go, and Henry Cooper is within 3 minutes of beating this young man, Joe Bugner. But for a man without a lot of experience in top class, what a good performance Bugner has put up, particularly in the first 8 or 9 rounds. The fight's tended to slip right away from him since. And I think all Cooper has to do now is to keep out of trouble. The marks on his face, they're always there when he fights, and he has to come through with them, and he's come through with them yet again.
Second out, the 15th and last round.
It looks as though experience is going to beat youth, but it's up to Bugner now. He must surely now just throw caution to the winds and go for his man and hope for a knockout. And that's all he can do. It's neck or nothing now for Bugner. There's no point in being cautious anymore. Forced back by that almost berserk effort of Bugner, and this is what he's got to do now. There's no point in being cautious. We are going to have a tremendous finish to this championship. Bugner's going for him, but he can't find the target. What might have happened if he'd done it earlier? We're just over halfway through the last round. And they're both feeling it now. This is the sort of attack that Bugner should have set up round about the 9th or 10th round. There's a blood blister now formed underneath Henry's left eye. Less than a minute to go. And there has not been a knockdown in the fight. 30 seconds to go. He's made an effort in this last round, Bugner, but it's too late to make any difference. Ten seconds. And there it is. It's over. And Cooper gives him a pat and says, well done, and he's given it to Bugner. He's given it to Joe Bugner, and I find that amazing. He's given it to Joe Bugner, and Cooper has lost 3 titles, and that I do not understand. And the whole of Wembley erupts into a storm of booing. And how in the world can you take away the man's 3 titles like that? And Cooper has taken it so well. And the booing erupts again, and police fall at the ringside. A great cordon of police. Bugner is champion of Britain, of Europe, and the Commonwealth, but nobody in the arena believes it to be true. It's a hollow victory then for Joe Bugner. And nothing but despondency and dejection, and I should think damn near despair, for Cooper.